I'd like to talk about the business, especially the cooperation between the countries in EU and Myanmar. I noticed there was quite altruistic and altruism and altruistic approach, and very like sort of active interest of many business and companies from EU to Myanmar some years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Is it going down on, or what is the level of the interest, or what is the kind of the business relation between Myanmar and individual countries, EU and EU as a whole? Is it becoming an issue of the past now for future business cooperation?
A lot of companies that have come to Myanmar, European companies that have settled in Myanmar over the last months and years. So you still have investments, you still have joint ventures, cooperation, job creation. But of course, a number of companies are still waiting to see what will be the clear evolution of the country. I think this is the reason why you don't have this rush that many have expected. And that brings up a very interesting point. It shows that it comes back to what I was saying before on the peace process. We should not only look at specific issues alone. We should not look at sectors independently. We should look at things in a holistic way. Economy is linked to politics. The economy is linked to democratic performance. The economy is linked to social standards. The economy is linked to freedoms and human rights. The economy is linked to infrastructure. All this is linked. So one of the reasons why there might be less companies investing than we would have expected, it's because companies are still waiting to see what will be the political future of this country. Certain of them are worried because they see war in parts of the country, they see conflict, they see intercommunal tension. All that is not good for investments because, you know, the worst thing for an investor, somebody who's going to come in a country and put his own money, is unpredictability. Businesses hate what is not predictable, what is not sure, because they are putting their money. Yeah. It's normal. So the more there will be political stability, the better the relations between the government and the army, the better the relations with the ethnic groups, with all the parts of this beautiful diversity that you have in your country, the better. This is what is going to attract businesses. You cannot impose businesses, at least in our free system. You cannot impose businesses to come here. They will come only if they are reassured. And the political reassurances are very important. Obviously, there are economic factors. An investor that comes here looks at his balance sheet and he wonders whether, you know, the environment is conducive for investments. Infrastructure, electricity, skilled labor, access to banking, access to insurances. I mean, you know. But that's one aspect only. The other aspect is really the predictability. If that improves, I'm sure that the country will attract massive investments from European companies. And what is interesting, I think, for Myanmar with European companies is not only they bring world-class, you know, technology and know-how, but they also bring good practices. They bring international standards of CSR, for instance. They bring a number of practices that are very much needed in Myanmar. They bring anti-corruption practices. They bring social norms to improve the quality, the working environment of the workers, like we do with our SMART project. They bring other things than purely economic. They bring a vision for society. They don't have a mandate for that, but this is what they bring in their luggage, because this is the way they operate. And when you look, that's one point, and the other point is also the incredible complementarity between the Myanmar economy and the European economy. Myanmar is competing with many Asian countries. You produce the same things: rice, agricultural products, and a number of other things, fishery. With the European companies and the European economy, you are not competing. There's almost no sector where there is competition. It's only complementarity. European companies can bring to Myanmar what you need: technologies, equipment, machinery, know-how, etc. And you bring to Europe, and we are promoting your exports to Europe, you bring what we need in terms of raw materials, in terms of fisheries, agricultural products, etc. So there's an incredible, beautiful marriage between the two economies, where the two of them are not competing, but are collaborating for a mutual benefit.
EU has been providing assistance and aid to certain areas, certain sectors, including agriculture, health, and education for Myanmar for some years, very effectively now. But how do you assess the effectiveness of these assistance and aid in the way that Myanmar is utilizing these aid and assistance for better governance, for better democratic transition, or for better establishing institutions? How do you assess whatever EU has been supporting to Myanmar in these areas?
Well, I hope the people of Myanmar are assessing this as positive. I hope so. Difficult for me to say, because this is the product of our work with the member states of the European Union. What I really see is that we have tried to focus on the most important sectors. There's a lot to do, admittedly, in Myanmar, so we need to concentrate to be efficient. And there's a great division of labor, by the way, between the member states of the European Union. So we try to share the work, and also with our partners, United Nations and many other countries. So we have tried to concentrate on the areas where we believe we would have a real impact, and where there could be a support to what the people of Myanmar want, that is a transformation of their society. This is why we have focused notably on education. Education is priority number one. And we have put a lot of money, but also a lot of political dialogue with the government on education. The recent National Strategy Education Plan that was adopted by this government has been done notably with the support of the European Union. So education is so important for the country because of the legacy of the past and what happened in the past, that we wanted to focus on this. I think it is important to focus on physical infrastructure, and Myanmar needs new roads, new bridges, new power plants, etc. Of course, you need all that, but it should not be forgotten that this hardware is one thing, but we need to work on the software, on the brains of people. This is what is going to change Myanmar in the future. Education, all levels of education, vocational training. This is what is going to give a huge boom, I think, to Myanmar, is to concentrate on education. So we have put a lot of efforts on this. The other priority was agriculture. 70% of the population, but a very small, contribution to GDP, but a huge potential. Myanmar has land, it has water, it has good land. So you should be a major power in the region for agriculture. This is not the case because one still needs to reform the education, the agricultural sector. You need more mechanization, you need more tools, you need land reform, you need training of the farmers, you need probably a structural revision of the way farming is being done in the country. But it is a priority, of course, and we work a lot on agriculture as well. But then I want to mention one or two other things that we have done and where we have decided to take some risks because we believe that even though it was an unpopular issue, it was necessary. I notably think about the reform of the police. The EU has been criticized sometimes by ill-informed people that we were, reforming the police and that we were helping the police. Well, I think this is necessary. In any democratic system, you need a modern, professional police force which is there to protect the people. Of course, not to hit the people as in the past, but to protect the people, to be at the service of citizens. And of course, some people have not understood that, but we are continuing this because we believe it's very important. So the member states of the European Union and ourselves have always taken the option to go for issues that were transformational, that had a real impact, even though they were difficult, sensitive, and sometimes unpopular. There are many other things, but our time is limited.
Before I go to next question, I have one personal question. If we have to take out one moment that you will really remember and cherish, whatever you had spent in Myanmar, is there any such moment that you will really, really remember for long and for you and your family in Myanmar?
Yes, I think the election day was really something very moving, very.
Where were you at the time?
I was observing the elections here in Yangon, so I was traveling around Yangon and a bit outside Yangon during the whole day, even during the counting at night. So when the office is closed, I stayed behind to look at the counting and so on.
Why you will remember this most?
Why? Because it was really history being written. I mean, these were the first free, open, democratic elections for a long time in Myanmar, maybe the best democratic elections ever. So you could see live in front of your eyes democracy being built. And what has touched me is really the incredibly positive attitude of all the people. Both those working in the polling stations, they were helping the people because people were not entirely used, to this. So they were helping the old, the elderly, and also the sick and the younger, and all of them. And the people were coming there with a lot of enthusiasm, of happiness. And this has been something that has moved me a lot. Yeah, there are many other cases, but this one I think is the one I will remember most.
I saw you with the rickshaw drivers, and I saw you with the different people, including the leaders, and I have seen really a lot with you, and I think you enjoy here. And I just would like to take this opportunity to thank you personally and also to EU for all this that you have done. And you have been doing really a lot for the people of Myanmar and the country. I've seen really a lot with you, and I think you enjoy here. And I just would like to take this opportunity to thank you personally and also to EU for all this that you have done, and you have been doing really a lot for the people of Myanmar and the country. And is anything that you would like to tell to our viewers and readers?
Yes.
I will not say this is not the last interview, but as interview as ambassador to Myanmar would be, I think, most probably the last one.
No, you mentioned the rickshaw issue. I know it has circulated a lot on internet, and it's also a good memory because it was part of the work we are trying to do as Europeans. Is to try to listen and meet the people. Because the Myanmar people know their country better than we do. It is their country, this is a sovereign country, it's an independent country, and we have to listen to the people. So I always enjoyed meeting the people from the top political levels to the rickshaw driver, with whom I had this wonderful experience, and he, we had such a wonderful moment that he told me, this is the first time ever that my customer is changing the sides and driving for me. It was the first time it happened to him. So he was so happy that he gave me his hat. You can see my hat with the Myanmar color on my head. So he gave me his hat as a present, which I found was extremely generous. So there have been many wonderful moments like this. Another one was the floodings. When I went to visit, I went several times, but I know a picture has been circulating about me in the floods with my trousers up there, and trying to meet the people even in the difficult circumstances, because diplomacy should not be only about the pompous and nice moments. It should be about contributing to relieving the pain of people. Only in listening to them sometimes is enough. And talking to the people, being accessible to all the people, I think is very important. So the last thing I wanted to say, I think that with everything that this country has brought to me, there's one issue that has remained as something that I would like to see progress on. Not as a diplomat, but as a human being. But it has political implications as well. And this is maybe the fact that I hope that I will see Myanmar one day valuing and cherishing its diversity. Myanmar is an incredible place, a beautiful place, a fascinating country. But one of the reasons for that is because of its diversity. It's because people in the north, in the south, in the west, in the east, in the center are different. They dress a bit differently, they speak different languages, they have different ideas, they have different food. All this is wonderful. And I think it is very important that Myanmar develops a sense of nationhood. Not the Bamar against the others and the Kachin against the Shan. And all these people have to cultivate their culture and values, but they need to be able to have this sense of belonging to the same country. So this nationhood building, I think, is very, very important for the future of the country. And this is where I think the Golden Land will shine. It's when there will be enough mutual respect, there will be enough tolerance between all the people, between all the races, all the religions, all the ethnic groups, to live together in harmony. And this is where I think Myanmar will get even stronger. Because at the end of the day, Myanmar is a middle-sized country, 50 million. It's big, but it's not huge. So if you leave aside 40% of the population, well, you only remain with so much less. So the best way to have a good socio-economic development, to regain your place in the international community as a strong Southern Asian country, will be to use all the forces of the nation, all of them. And I think this can only be done in, valuing diversity instead of looking at it through the prism of difficulties. I think it is an asset. It's not a difficulty. It is a real asset that you should value. There's nothing more boring than mono-identity. People who try to reduce themselves and the others to one single identity are not only boring, but they are dangerous. because mono-identities lead to conflict. If you reduce yourself to only one thing, be it ethnic belongings or race or religion or whatever, well, you are bound to enter into conflict about the others. So maybe one day we should launch a big campaign in Myanmar. You know, now you have these DNA tests that you can make, and they give you your genealogy of the hundreds of years of your ancestors. And all of these DNA tests show that all the people of this world have multiple origins, multiple belongings. And I'm sure every citizen in Myanmar has a little bit of Bamar blood, of Kachin blood, of Shan blood, of Rakhine blood. And this, I think, would be, you know, a great way to show the people that diversity is in their blood and that now it should be in their soul.
Thank you, Excellency, for being with us in this very historic and important moment for Myanmar. And I wish you the best for your future and for your next posting in Afghanistan. And I really hope that we can meet again whenever you come and visit. Please come and visit us.
I will, because my family would like, of course, to see the country again, and my kids have had a wonderful time in this country. They have grown up here, and so we will come back. And I wanted to congratulate you and Midzima for the excellent work you are doing as a very professional, deontological newspaper and weekly that you are bringing forward.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.